It's been exactly 13 years since the attack on the NTV-NBC station in the Panama. 13 years and the armed perpetrators remain at large. 13 years of miscarried justice. But that attempt to silence the truth has succeeded only in strengthening it. For 13 years, the assailants who struck a deadly blow on the people's right to know have been roaming freely, while law enforcement agencies were informed of the imminent threat. On the 6th of January at 2:10 a.m., a gang of armed thugs broke into the Sirisa studio complex. The professional assailants first attacked the security personnel at the studio complex, and their next target was the main television broadcast control room of the studio. The group who destroyed all the equipment at the studio complex escaped after rigging 2 Claymore bombs at the studio complex. During the government analysts' investigation after the attack, an 8-kilogram Claymore explosive was found active at the main control room. Despite the brand new studios being completely reduced to ashes, within a few hours we were able to begin telecasting as a sign of strength we found in our unity. Law enforcement agencies launched investigations into the attack, and politicians at the time promised swift action against the perpetrators. Within 48 hours of the attack on the Sirisa studio complex, veteran journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga, who arrived at the location and condemned the attacks, was murdered in Aktidia. We will continue to stand by the people, regardless of the governments that come into power. That is a well-established fact. The people will continue to remain with us in the years to come.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's now take a look at your headlines for tonight.
President visits Ahlepola Valawa. Prime Minister says more opportunities have opened up for education. How did a backbench MP receive intelligence information? Susil Premajayantha calls for investigation.
මං ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා රජයේ ප්‍රධානීන්ගෙන් මේ කරපු ප්‍රකාශය පිළිබඳ වෙනම පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්නයි කියලා.
SLPP members ask SLFP MPs to resign if they can't work with the government. Gas explosions suspicious. Minister Johnston says a secret investigation is underway. 3 children from Kotadeniyawa who disappeared found in Mirigama.
First up in news here at home, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited several areas in Kandy today as well.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the Malwatha Mahaviharya today. He called upon the Anunayaka of the Malwatha chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Dimul Kumare Vimaladhamma Thero. The President then called on the Anunayaka of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Niyangoda Vijitasiri Anunayaka Thero. The Thero then presented a book to the President. The President then called on Venerable Kapatipola Sirivimala Thero, a senior member of the Sri Lanka Ramanya sect, at the Rajapavanaramiya temple in Gatabe. The President then inspected the refurbishment of the Kapatipola Valawa, which is more than 4 centuries old. The building was acquired by the Urban Development Authority and is being refurbished by the Department of Archaeology.
The new 3-story building constructed at the Kurunagala Malayadeva Balika Vidyalaya was declared open by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa today. A special commemorative stamp and a first-day cover to mark the 75th anniversary of the Malayadeva Balika Vidyalaya were also unveiled under the patronage of the Prime Minister.
We have allocated a sum of money for education this year that no government has allocated before. I think we were also able to provide a fair solution to the salary anomaly of the teachers. We are doing all of these for the benefit of the children. Make the most of these opportunities you have and progress ahead. I would like to request these daughters to keep in mind that despite the challenges, what we are doing today is committed to creating a secure and prosperous country for you.
The Prime Minister met with students of the media unit of the Malayadeva Balika Vidyalaya and instructed the Education Minister to fulfill their requirements.
Yesterday, Government MP Janaka Tissakutiarachi revealed that State Minister Susil Premajayantha was removed from his position based on intelligence information. The remarks have drawn mixed responses in political circles.
Yesterday, 3 backbench government MPs commented on the removal of Susil Premajayantha as a state minister.
We have to keep in mind that we have something called the State Intelligence Service in Sri Lanka. Some information that comes out from there could be about the government, national security, plans to form alternative governments or the political situation. All these reasons led to the removal of Susil Premajayantha. It was not just the remarks he made in Delkada.
Some government MPs responded to the comment made by the backbench MP yesterday.
The intelligence unit analyzes any information. Therefore, be it Susil Premajayantha or Maithripala Sirisena, they can express whatever comments they want within the government and not outside. That is unethical. Therefore, Maithripala and Susil must wait with us if they can or leave us.
An
intelligence service is operating in the country. When the intelligence service is in effect, they collect information on how certain people are conducting themselves. They might have collected details. We don't send the CID or any other unit to follow the ministers, but the intelligence service receives details on the whereabouts of ministers, the people whom they met, and whether their location is insecure. That has been there for a long time. The president has entrusted people with responsibilities and they must fulfill that. Instead of doing that, if they meet at several places and discuss various matters, those details will be received.
Former State Minister Dr. Susil Premajayantha is currently involved in legal practice. Speaking outside the Colombo Magistrates Court, he responded to claims that he was removed based on intelligence information.
That is a dangerous statement. Intelligence units don't have to follow people like me. They must collect details from all areas on what people are saying while standing in queues to buy gas and kerosene, what people are saying while buying goods at the market, the reason that has caused this situation, and also why farmers are protesting. Those details must be collected by intelligence units and sent to the government. Only then the government can find out a suitable solution to the problems. Intelligence units don't have to come after us. We will speak openly. We don't get involved in conspiracies. How did a person like Tissakutiarachi receive intelligence information? This is a serious problem. I am requesting those in the top rungs of the government to investigate these statements and also how this MP received intelligence information.
The government has rejected the criticism made by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party that continues to represent the ruling faction.
It is a tragedy. The people of this country are aware of what the president has done during his term. The people have not been reborn. I think that statements that are made with a strange wordplay have different objectives. These objectives cannot be accomplished until our faction is in power. As long as you are disciplined, you will be here. Otherwise, please leave.
ඉන්න පුළුවන් නැත්තම් යන්න පුළුවන් කියන කතාව තමයි කියන්න සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය දැන් ආණ්ඩුවේ යන්න ඔන්න මෙන්න තමයි ඉන්නේ.
දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ පොට්ටුවෙන් අයින් වෙනවා කියලා. දන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම ගියා කියලා ඉම්පැක්ට් නැහැ. දැන් අපේ ගමක ගියොත් එහෙම ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ බෑ හොයා ගන්න අමාරු කරුණික හොයාගත්තා. මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහතාට මොකද කියන්න තියෙනවද ඔබතුමාලට? මට කියන්න තියෙන නම් එතුමාගේ ශ්‍රී මුඛයේ වසාගෙන සිටීම අපි සියලු දෙනාටම යහපත්ය. යන ගමන හරි නැහැ කියලානේ කියන්නේ. එතුමාගේ ගමන හරි නැහැ කියලා නෙමෙයි කියන්න කිව්වේ. ඊට ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ප්‍රකාශ සම්බන්ධව ඔබතුමා මොකද හිතන්නේ? ඒ අයගේ වෙස් මාරු කිවීම වෙස් ගැනීම පිළිබඳව අවබෝධ කරගන්න රටේ ජනතාවට හොඳ පාඩමක්. ඒ කිසි ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. එතුමාලට යනවා නම් යන්න පුළුවන්. ඉන්න කට්ටියට යන්න පුළුවන්. එන කට්ටියට එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ ගියාම තව කට්ටියක් අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙනවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ ගත්ත ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණය
All of them entered parliament using the votes that were casted for the SLPP and not the SLFP. Don't forget that. Otherwise, not a single one of the 14 SLFP members would be in parliament. Maithripala has forgotten that not even one MP was able to secure a parliamentary seat from the electorates in which only one candidate of the party contested.
මෛත්‍රීපාල මහත්තයා ඒක අමතකයි. ඒ නිසා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂේ නැහැ කියලා පොට්ටු වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party's senior vice chairman, Professor Rohana Lakshman Piyadasa, responded to the allegations made by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
The president wouldn't have won the elections without the 170,000 or 180,000 votes that were cast for the SLFP. The ruling faction has been in power for over 2 years. It is yet to hold broad discussions with its affiliated parties. When these discussions stopped, the ruling party's term in power started to reduce as well. That is what our past experiences say as well. The current situation says the same. The government affiliated parties are going to courts because they haven't been served justice at cabinet meetings. There is political complexity in the country. The SLFP is practically working with people at the village level. There will be an election in the near future. Steps are being taken for the people to represent the SLFP through a new faction.
Energy Minister Udaya Gammanpila has said that the agreement on the Trincomalee oil tank farm was signed this evening. In a tweet, he said the Treasury Secretary, Land Commissioner General, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Lanka Indian Oil Company and Trinco Petroleum Terminal Limited had signed the agreement. Now, trade unions are questioning whether the agreement with the Indian on the Trincomalee oil tank farm is a first step towards handing over all oil tanks to India. The Mahasangha warned Minister Dala Sala Peruma in Trincomalee today that the Mahasangha will take to the streets to protest the nation assets of Sri Lanka.
The government has planned to vest 3 companies with 99 oil tanks and an 827-acre land that will be divided into 3 portions for 50 years. According to the agreement approved by the cabinet last week, 14 oil tanks would be given to the Indian Oil Corporation, while 24 will remain under the ownership of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The remaining 61 tanks will be run by a company named Trinco Petroleum Terminal Private Limited. The government says the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation will hold a 51% stake in the new company, while the Indian Oil Corporation will hold 49%. Documents at the Registrar of Companies show that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is the only shareholder at Trinco Petroleum Terminal Private Limited at present. The only director in the company is the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation's chairman, Subit Vijay Singha. What would be the future of this company that has been registered with the Registrar of Companies?
Udaya Gammanpila is repeating what Ranil Wickramasinghe did. After the land was acquired, the oil tanks belong to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. They have proposed for 3 institutions to develop these oil tanks. They are the Indian High Commission, IOC and the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. The cabinet paper doesn't just mention about giving away lands. Permission has been obtained for that. They are coming here to form a new company and to gain control of the oil tanks. Earlier, we retrieved the oil tanks. Today, they are forming a new company and asking the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to collect taxes from them. They are trying to extend this up to 50 years by making use of the weak rulers and the weak economy. In 2003, the Indian Oil Corporation couldn't gain control of our oil tanks. But in 2022, if Udaya Gammanpila is signing and giving them away to India, it is your duty to prevent it from happening. The Mahasangha expressed their objection to the Trincomalee oil tank farm agreement today. This was when Minister Dallas Alha-Peruma visited the Trincomalee District Secretariat to declare open the Government Publication Bureau.
We have more news in store for you, but first a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
KDK, the leader in indoor air quality. Over 110 years in bringing you the best of Japanese innovation and technology. KDK, the reliable fan.
Welcome back. Authorities had taken steps to dig a trench on the borders of the Moragoda Reserve in Anuradhapura. What is the current status of this project? On the borders of the Moragoda Reserve in Anuradhapura is a trench to keep away elephants. Today it is filled with water. The trench is filled with water. This is not because of the rains. Water from the reserve usually flows through a canal. Today that water can't flow through that. They have dug the trench across that. A drain that is 10 feet deep and 10 feet wide is to be built around the village under this program. When Chandrasena was the wildlife minister, he promised that he would turn this into a zoo. More than 100,000 rupees was spent on that. A banner for the project was also installed. It was then removed. A couple of weeks later, they began digging the trench, saying it would solve the issue relating to wild elephants. An assessment hasn't been done. A project report hasn't been prepared. No one has granted approval for this. This is taking place as a project that is being conducted directly by a political authority to allow their henchmen to carry out sand racketeering. They have been digging this trench for 2 months without any legal basis. The people on both sides of the trench have been badly affected. A company named Vimalasena Constructions is carrying out this project. A person claiming to be Minister Chandrasena's secretary has now fled the village without paying for the owners of the backhoe machines. It is clear that Minister Chandrasena is also involved in some underhand deals by selling this sand. This project has been approved by the budget. My secretary or anyone else isn't involved in this. Anyone can come and carry out this. We have allowed anyone with the machinery to carry out the project. Those who are digging the trench can remove the sand. I don't know whether they are carrying out a business through that. In response to whether the digging of the trench has been halted, what I have to say is I haven't inquired into that. I can look into that and let you know tomorrow. Minister Johnston Fernando has expressed serious concerns regarding the gas explosions in the country. He added that a secret investigation is being conducted into this matter. There is a problem with gas cylinders. I was asked about gas explosions. I told them that I have great concern regarding this issue. Gas doesn't explode in Colombo 7, in the north or in Kandy. Therefore, dear Prime Minister, we must inquire into this. These explosions take place only in certain areas. The President said that there are secret investigations taking place regarding this matter. The people are in disbelief. How can these explosions take place in certain areas in the country but not in Colombo 7 or the north?
The remarks made by Minister Johnston Fernando are serious in nature. Although the issue can be complex, an in-depth study is required to understand the true magnitude of it. As people continue to stand in queues to buy gas cylinders, the recent sequence of events must be taken into consideration. In April last year, Litrogas Lanka Limited released 18-litre gas cylinders to the market at a cost of 1,395 rupees. Although the price may seem low, the weight of the cylinder was 3.5 kilograms, less than the regular 12.5 kilogram cylinder. On many occasions, Newsfirst highlighted that the new 18-litre cylinder had a new composition of butane and propane. The Consumer Affairs Authority had claimed that Litrogas earned a 317 rupees profit from one such cylinder. In May last year, the cabinet decided that the Lavs and Litrogas companies must jointly purchase, transport and store gas cylinders. The decision was made while Lavs Gas is developing a terminal in Hambantota to store a large quantity of cylinders. In June last year, a shortage of Lavs gas cylinders was reported in the market. The shortage arose when the two gas companies demanded that the gas prices be increased. While the Consumer Affairs Authority did not approve a change in prices, Lavs Gas suspended the importation of gas. Tushara Jayasinghe replaced Anil Koswatha as the chairman of Litrogas Lanka Limited. The new chairman offered to supply gas for the yellow cylinders as well. However, the offer was rejected by Lavs Gas. What followed was the Consumer Affairs Authority's approval to increase gas prices. Authorities also formed a new company named Seolit to allow both companies to import gas. The President's secretary suspended the move as nominations were made to the company's management. The chairman of Litrogas Lanka Limited made a massive revelation in November last year.
There are a few mafias taking place at the moment in Sri Lanka. It's the same thing that's happening with the gas as well. New competitors aren't allowed to enter this market. It's a monopoly. The party in power doesn't matter to them. They are thieves. The consignment of gas had arrived at the port. They were blackmailing us, demanding us to extend their contract for 2 more years. Our backs were pinned to the wall because we rejected this deal. I had to manage the situation until we got further instructions from the president. He spoke to me yesterday. He told me to speak the unbiased truth, and that is why I am here. In the months that followed after this statement, gas explosions were reported across the country. A committee appointed by the president then cited changes in the composition as a cause of the explosions. But the mafia, as mentioned by the chairman of Litrogas Lanka Limited, has not been revealed yet. Oman Trading International Limited currently holds a long-term contract to supply gas to Sri Lanka. This is a state-owned entity in Oman. One party had signed as a witness in all agreements signed with this company before the agreement for long-term gas supply was signed in 2019. Does this mean that intermediaries were involved in the agreement? Is this the reason for the mafia mentioned by the chairman of Litrogas Lanka? A group of civil activists raised questions regarding this issue from the Bribery Commission today. Oman Trading has been supplying gas to Litrogas since March of 2020, when it was under former chairman of the Litrogas, Anil Koswatha. Based on what Tushara is saying, the country is suffering a loss of 10 billion due to this agreement. Certain people are using this money for their personal matters, while the people don't even have 1,000 rupees to even feed themselves. We believe that someone who has carried out such a fraud is also capable of staging gas explosions. Shouldn't the investigation mentioned by Minister Johnston Fernando cover these matters as well? The gas crisis continues to affect the people of Sri Lanka. The people are severely affected as there are no cylinders in the market.
pregnant අතර මට පැය ගානක් මෙතන හිටගෙන ඉන්න අමාරුයි ඒත් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ අපි කොළඹ ඉඳලා එන්නේ ඊයේ රෑ ඉඳලා මේ විදිහට ගියොත් නම් අපිට ඇත්තටම ලංකාවක් නැතුව යාවි කියන්න දෙයක් නැහැ එපා වෙලා ඉන්නේද දැන් මේ 4ට ආවේ ගෑස් ගන්න ඊයේත් වැඩ නැහැ කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ ඉතින් දැන් අර සැපෙන් තමයි ඉන්නේ.
As delays grow to resolve the fertilizer crisis, concerns are being raised on whether it will affect the harvest for the Maha season. Farmers in Kunchiparantan in Kilinochi have begun reaping their harvest. This is what they had to say.
We used to reap a harvest that fills about 25 sacks from an acre. Now we reap only about 10 to 15 acres. We were affected by the fertilizer crisis from the beginning. There was no fertilizer. We had to buy pesticides for 30,000 rupees. We had to pawn our jewelry to cultivate on this land. How are we going to buy our jewelry back? Usually we reap a harvest that fills about 25 sacks from an acre of land. Now we don't even receive 10 sacks. Only God knows how we are going to survive. We are in dire straits. We used to receive harvest that fills about 25 sacks. Now we get only 5. All we have to do now is to go begging for food.
Farmers will begin reaping their harvest for the Maha season in the coming weeks. Shouldn't the government realize the grave impact of the fertilizer crisis to identify how the harvests of the country would turn out to be? Agriculture Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage says the government has made the necessary arrangements to purchase 1 kilogram of paddy for 75 rupees. We initiated the Green Agriculture Program this Maha season. Farmers accused us of not providing fertilizer on time. They then said that it's substandard fertilizer. They also warned us about a reduction in harvest. Taking this into consideration, we, the government, have decided to pay 75 rupees for a kilo of paddy. Last season, we only paid 50 rupees for a kilo of paddy. This season, the Paddy Corporation will purchase a kilogram of paddy at 75 rupees from all farmers.
එතකොට රුපියල් 250ක්වත් වේවිද මේ යන විදියට හාල් කිලෝ එක? කිසිසේත් වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපේ රුපියල්
No, the price will not increase. The selling price will be the same as before.
මොකද අපි වැඩිපුර ගෙවන රුපියල් 25000 රජය විසින් දරනවා.
Potatoes and big onions imported from India have now entered the market after the government released the taxes on all imported essential goods and medicines. Imported potatoes are now available not just in Peta but also the Dambulla dedicated economic centre.
We are
receiving potatoes and onions from China and Pakistan. We are receiving them from many countries. We have mostly received imports from Pakistan and India. The prices have dropped as the duty has been reduced. Onions imported from Pakistan are sold at 100 rupees. Indian onions are 120 rupees. Garlic costs 370 rupees. These are wholesale rates. Imported rice costs 115, 110 or 120 rupees. We have received imported rice. The cost is low. A good quality of the Kiri Ponni variety is sold at 160 rupees and 65 cents. Ponni rice is sold at 130 rupees.
Ponni ලාභයි වගේ ටිකක් එක එක ඉතින් එක එක තැන් වල එක එක ගණන් වලට යනවා. ඉතින් අපිට හරියටම කියන්න බෑ හරි prices නැහැනේ සමහර තැන් වල.
Traders point out that there is a drop in the supply of locally cultivated onions and potatoes. The
cost of goods is rising, although the people's income isn't.
The prevailing economic crisis in the country, pawning jewelry has become a quick way of earning some money. In such instances where people are desperate for money, pawning jewelry may seem a convenient way of earning a quick buck. But pawning jewelry without a calculated risk could be a financial burden later down the road.
Pawn shops say people are pawning their jewelry in exchange for money.
රත්තරන් එලා උගස් තියෙන කට්ටිය වැඩි මාසෙට එලා නිකන් 30 දිනක් આવත් එම දැන් එන කට්ටිය වැඩි 50 දිනක ඒ වගේ එනවා.
Now people who pawned their jewelry are not buying it back.
තේර ගන්න එක ගොඩක් අඩු වෙලා පොඩි පොඩි කරාබු වගේ පොඩි පොඩි බසු තමයි උස්සගෙන එන්නේ මිනිස්සු උගස් තියන. ඉස්සර වගේ ලොකු බඩු මොකුත් ගේන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ෆෝන් කරලා කියනවා ඒවිලා බේරන්න කියලා. හැබැයි ආන්සර් මොකුත් නැහැ. එන්නේ නැහැ කට්ටිය බේරන්න.
ඉස්සර නම් එහෙම නෙවෙයි. මිනිස්සු තිබ්බොත් මේ සතියෙන් කෝණයෙන් බේරනවා ඒ වගේ රොටේෂන් වෙනවා. දැන් ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි. මිනිස්සු අතෙන් සල්ලි නැහැනේ. ඒ හින්දා බේරන්න බෑ.
උගස් තියෙන මිනිස්සුන්ට බඩු නැහැ. තේන බඩු උගස් තියලා දෙන තේන උගස් තිබ්බ බඩු විකුණන්න තමයි එන්නේ දැන්.
උගස් කරන්න එන මිනිස්සු සමහර අය බේරගන්නවා. සමහර අයට බේරගන්න විදියක් නැහැ විකුණනවා. අද රටේ තියෙන තත්ත්වෙත් එක්ක මිනිස්සුන්ට ඒව බේරගන්න විදියක් නැහැ ආර්ථිකයේ අනුව.
As the cost of goods continue to rise, More people are pawning their jewellery with the hope of feeding their children. But they seem to have lost hope in buying them back. While people continue to face issues in making ends meet, the all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded an all-time high once again today. The Colombo Stock Exchange closed with an ASPI of 13,195.52 points today and gained 118.61 basis points during the day's trade, nearing the 13,200 mark for the first time. Meanwhile, the S&P SL20 index ended the day today at 43.82 basis points lower at 4,523.97. The Colombo Stock Exchange recorded a daily turnover of 9.26 billion rupees today.
I asked the farmers of Seruvilla, can you bear this any longer? Can you wait any longer? We cannot wait like this any longer. That is the truth. We were informed that a bag of fertilizer is sold at 25,000 rupees. Nothing like this has ever happened throughout history. Look at how the agriculture minister behaves while representing millions of people that voted for this government. They are imposing conditions when issuing compensation. But he bows down to the company that gave us substandard fertilizer. The government paid the fertilizer company $6.7 million with no strings attached.
ධන නමස්කාර කරලා වැඳ වැටිලා ඩොලර් ලක්ෂ 67ක් ගෙවන්න එයාට පුළුවන්. ඒකට කොන්දේසි නැහැ.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa made the following remarks when he declared open the Samagi Janabalawege's office in Seruvilla.
පහුගිය දවසක විදේශ රජයකුත් අපේ සංවර්ධන වැඩසටහන් වලට ආධාර ලබා ණය නෙවෙයි.
Even a foreign government gave aid for our development projects. They were not loans, they were grants. No opposition or any single political party has ever received aid directly from a foreign government in Sri Lanka's history. Some criticized us saying that these grants were given to keep us quiet. We have not kept quiet. It was wrong that the government bowed down to the ship that brought us substandard fertilizer. The government has betrayed this nation. They imposed conditions on farmers when they demand compensation, but they bow down to these Chinese companies with no strings attached.
කොන්දේසි දමන්නත් මේ ආණ්ඩුව අද දේශද්‍රෝහී වෙලා.
MP SM Marika attended a media briefing of the Samagi Janabalawegeya today. If they are printing money and providing relief without any form of revenue, then inflation will increase. That means the cost of goods will increase further. If the cost of goods increase, then will this 5,000 rupees be sufficient? Then what will happen to Sri Lanka eventually is that the people will have to push their money around just like in African countries. Was this done to provide relief? Otherwise, if they go ahead with the move, targeting the votes at the provincial council elections, even if it comes at the cost of printing money, rising inflation and the rising cost of goods.
ඕන දෙයක් රටට වෙච්ච දෙයක් අපි පළාත් සභා ඡන්දය අප්‍රේල් මාසෙ විතර තියන්න බලාගෙන අපි ඡන්ද දිනන්නද කරේ කියලා.
Former governor and leader of the National Unity Alliance, Asad Saleh, today lodged a complaint with the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka.
Azad Saleh has requested the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka to conduct an investigation into the violation of his fundamental rights as he was detained for 9 months. Speaking to reporters today, he said the country's democracy should be protected.
I am happy to say that everyone, including the commissioner and the chairman, discussed the matter with me and informed that they will take steps in this regard immediately today itself. They also appointed a commissioner in this regard. They said they will look into the matter, including the statement made by Minister Sarath Weerasekara to arrest me, the court order issued by the Chief Magistrates Court, as well as the order issued by the High Court. Not only that, our people went and met the new Attorney General, who took over after former Attorney General Dappula Dilivera more than 15 times. Then it was said that there was nothing in this. But he was also not interested to hear this case and stated that this was wrong. Therefore, we clearly state that no one in this country should face such a situation. We saw how many others were there at the CID when we were there. We must protect democracy in this country.
2 children who were disappeared from Kota Deniava have been found after 45 days.
The 2 children, identified as residents of Vattemulla Kota Deniava, were found in Mirigama. A woman had accompanied the 2 children and handed them over to the Mirigama police. The children were cousins and were aged 10 and 12. The two children were handed over to the Korodeniava police for further investigation.
For more than 120 days, teachers and principals staged protests demanding a solution to their salary issues. Although the government has provided them with a solution, they say that all their demands have to be met. What are these demands?
There are unresolved issues in terms of the salaries of principals and problems in the teachers' service. A cabinet subcommittee has been appointed to solve this problem. We asked them to appoint a committee and solve this problem when we attended the discussion on the 9th of September. There are anomalies in the salary increments. Such matters must be dealt with. We are holding discussions on resolving the salary issues. If we can't resolve these issues through discussions, then we will have to launch a struggle.
India's Health Ministry has confirmed that a 74-year-old man who died in the western state of Rajasthan was India's first death with the Omicron variant. And with that, we wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe and good night.